real production grade software in days.
We are trying to break the entire software lifecycle down into various parts. So like you have a tech team where there's a PM, there's a developer, there's a DevOps guy, there's compliance, there's design. We are breaking it down into these steps and building agents for each of these steps. And these would be managed together by a full stack engineer.
So the full stack engineer is the human in the loop.
You won't have a front-end engineer or back-end or a specialist. There would be full-stack engineers who would manage an entire team of agents together to build quality products. And as an engineer, what your role becomes is more judgment-based. We see here a lot that AI is going to eliminate engineers. We don't require engineers. But I think the role of engineers has become more important right now. We are seeing code generated at exponential rates right now. That's where a human in the loop becomes more important to ensure alignment, to ensure that it all passes all security checks. Most companies right now, they are centering all their outcomes and all their more value propositions around AI. But AI is just an enabler. It helps you automate a lot of workflows, but your outcome remains the same.
Welcome to Tech Teams Today, the show where we go deep with the builders shaping the future of software. Today's guest is Nishant Verma, co-founder of Heizen, a company combining AI agents and elite engineers to build real products in days, not months. Nishant has built across India, Singapore, and the US, leading teams, launching platforms, and now helping startups move at an unprecedented speed. We'll talk about leading hybrid AI human teams, building under pressure, and what the next generation of engineering orgs might look like. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show, Nishant.
Thank you, Matt. Excited to be here.
So, Heizen's pitch is bold. Real production grade software in days. Walk us through what a project looks like inside Heizen and what makes that speed possible.
Yeah, so the idea at Heizen, where we operate in, is keep the production quality same, but deliver as fast as we can. So people underestimate the quality of software which can be delivered in a few days or weeks, but overestimate what can be the quality which can be delivered in a few minutes. So we are trying to break the entire software lifecycle down into various parts. So like you have a tech team where there's a PM, there's a developer, there's a DevOps guy, there's compliance, there's design. We are breaking it down into these steps and building agents for each of these steps. So we have a PM agent, a coding agent, we're building a design, DevOps, all these agents. And these would be managed together by a full stack engineer to get to the speed. But the human in the loop will be there to make it to production quality.
So the full stack engineer is the human in the loop.
Yeah.
And they're sort of making sure that each of these agentic AI components are functioning at a production grade.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, especially with so much hype around agentic AI, particularly like just in the past 6 months. So that kind of leads us into my next question. So as a founder, I think everyone seems like they have an idea for a startup, and the chasm is always going from idea to something that users can actually touch, which means you have to actually build something. So how do you guide, and how have you guided that transition, and also made sure that the quality stayed, production grade?
Yeah, so with all the AI developments happening, it's become very easier for everyone to build. Even if you're a tech person, non-tech person, anyone can build. But the bar for what's acceptable in the market also has gone up, right? And that's where we're focusing on. There are so many ideas you can build on, and you can get a basic toy app or something which displays and showcases your idea very quickly, but you can't really onboard users on that. So how we guide founders who are working with us building products is we break it down into very achievable small sprints. So the vision is not to build something great 3 months down the line, but something usable each week and go in concentric circles, developing week by week, guiding them through navigating and being agile enough so that they can make it something which users can use. So idea is to keep the momentum going, not building something very complex from the get-go itself, but breaking down into very weekly sprints. So that, just to give an example, if you're building something on a marketplace model, we just build the core functionality in the first week and go in concentric circles, add in features based on user feedback, based on validating the market week by week.
Yeah, so like product market fit, bare necessities first, bells and whistles second, right?
Yes.
So let's just like zoom out a little bit and talk about, we said in the beginning, a full stack engineer being the human in the loop, supervising agentic AI components. So, our audience is engineering leaders, and I think, engineering orgs are changing so much in terms of, org design. Now there are increasingly more AI components in that org design. How do you think engineering leaders should be thinking about managing teams that are half human, not half AI, but it might actually come to that at some point? What does that look like in the day-to-day life of an engineering leader?
Yeah. So our vision, not very far into the future, what we envisage teams to be like is you won't have a front-end engineer or back-end or a specialist. There will be full-stack engineers who would manage an entire team of agents together to build quality products. So there's no specialization required. As an engineer, you would manage a design agent, a coding agent, a DevOps agent, all these together to get to the speed. And as an engineer, what your role becomes is more judgment-based, more quality. Find out the edge cases, do the testing, see if it aligns to your requirements.
So problem solving.
Problem solving, basically. So all the grunt work or the manual work is done by agents, but you as a engineer manage. Your more role becomes more strategic, more important right now with all these developments coming in.
Yeah, so I guess my follow-up to that would be, to become a full stack developer, you have to initially be specialized, right? So first you might become a back-end developer, then you become a front-end developer, then maybe you get familiar with one of the cloud platforms, and then you get familiar with one of the LLMs. That's what I consider to be a full stack developer in 2025. So I guess my question is, what advice would you give people just starting their tech career in terms of how do you become a full stack? What steps do you take to become a full stack developer nowadays?
Yeah. So for anyone just starting out, I think the three main focus areas where they can really add value to any team is being very familiar with AI native workflows in development. So building something requires your curiosity and knowledge across different stacks, right? So previously you write code, you review, you deploy. Right now, the first step is done by AI. So you need to be well versed enough with that code that is generated, where it can go wrong, where it gets misaligned, and understand which tools you can use to bring that to production. So we're getting familiar with more AI native workflows in development across the entire software lifecycle. You can't really focus on one particular aspect of software. You have to see it across the stack and become more AI native than the previously conventional workflows that you had.
Yeah, so you're not starting off opening up an IDE with a blank screen.
Yeah.
The boilerplate code is mostly taken care of for you by AI.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about your experience a little bit. You've led teams across continents and across functions, growth, ops, engineering. How has that shaped your leadership style?
Yeah, so I think as a founder, you have to wear different hats at different points in stage. But right now, what I feel is working across geography, across domains, the idea of selling your idea, the idea of selling your vision has become more important. Like anyone can build, but what is to be built has become more important. Your distribution plays a key role, your workflows play a key role. So anyone building out these days, your leadership is defined right now by what vision you can sell to your stakeholders, not by what you can actually build, because building has become very easy, but how do you sell it to various stakeholders, your customers, your investors, your employees? That has become more important.
Yeah, so again, it sort of goes to the bar just being a lot higher. So for developers out there who have spent 20 plus years writing code, I've seen quite a bit people, like engineers specifically, asking or posing the idea that AI generated code is a ticking time bomb. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, so AI, that's why I think the role of engineers have become more important. Like we see here a lot that AI is going to eliminate engineers. We don't require engineers, but I think the role of engineers has become more important right now. We are seeing code generated at exponential rates right now, and that's where a human in the loop becomes more important. To ensure alignment, to ensure that it all passes all security checks. And within Heizen also, we try to make it a shared state of existence between AI and humans in the loop. That's why we're breaking down the software development into various stages, so that as at each stage of the software, the human in the loop has constant awareness of what is being generated by AI. It's not a one-stop prompt to code generation. You ensure that each stage, whether it's planning, whether it's the sprint planning, whether it's the code generation, whether it's testing, there's a shared state of existence between the human developer and the AI, so that you ensure that this doesn't break at any point of time. You can ensure all the corner cases are taken care of. And that's where the role has become more important.
Yeah, so I'm curious how you think QA factors into that. What part, like how much of QA in the future is going to be human-based versus AI or automation-based?
Yeah, so QA is not one step out of the software right now. QA has to be incorporated at every stage of the software. So the human in the loop, whether it's planning the sprint, whether it's deploying, whether it's testing, you require QA at every step. Yeah, it just gives you the speed, but to ensure the quality and the alignment, you have to incorporate at every step of the lifecycle, not just when the code gets generated. Even at the planning stage, even in your sprint planning meetings, even when the customer is sharing the requirements, you can have agents writing down all these requirements, but you'll have to have some bit of quality checks whether it's aligned to your requirements or not.
So zooming out a little bit more on the leadership side. So, you have quite a bit of leadership under your belt. What sort of a leadership mistake you've made that changed how you think about building teams today?
Yeah, so as a startup leader, you make mistakes every day and you constantly recalibrate on where you're heading. But the most recent and which ones we have learned quite enough was not hiring too much across the board. You need to figure out where you want to invest your human capital is. It has become more important on where you can invest your human capital in, which you will hire. So it's not that AI is eliminating these roles and you just automated everything, but you need to have more strategic people who have good judgment, who can understand AI native workflows and then use them to get you to speed. So hiring people who are familiar with how you can effectively leverage AI is become more important. You just don't have to just hire a lot of people, but hire very small group of very efficient people who can use these to get you to speed and build momentum in the company.
Yeah, so it's less about headcount and more about impact and hiring developers who have embraced AI, right?
Yeah.
So speaking, on that topic, what do you look for in engineers in terms of hiring? Engineers who can thrive in this hybrid AI human world.
I think 2-3 main parameters. First is curiosity. With so much information about AI developments having every week across all foundation models or app layers building on top, curiosity is a definite must-have for any engineer to understand what's the best in the market and how they can effectively leverage them. Second, a bit of plasticity in your working style. So the way of working and developing is completely flipped right now. So you don't start writing code from scratch as we discussed. You use AI generated code and then use it in your development process. So having that adaptability to use all these tools and redefine your own workflows based on the developments in the market is a second important factor for any developer which we hire.
Can you share sort of a recent decision you made, product or technical, that felt like a bet, but ended up paying off?
Yeah, so we are taking a lot of bets, I think, all across business and product. The first major bet which we took was building this company as a human in the loop right from the scratch. We are not making this as a self-serve product. A lot of people are trying to build that, and we'll see how it goes. But our bet is that we'll always require human in the loop. Software as a problem, the complexity escalates very quickly as we build further into it. So you'll always have that 10-20% of the requirements requiring humans. So building this as a services company has really paid off because we are able to make production quality software. Second, we are not really optimizing for the quality of output from AI. We believe that as foundational models get better, we'll always have better quality of code, better quality of roadmaps being generated. What we are spending all our engineering effort is how these agents effectively talk to each other. So a PM agent, how it talks to the coding agent, how it talks to the DevOps agent, optimizing and stitching them together to work seamlessly. That's what we are aiming for. And third, the contrarian bet which we took was going after the early stage founders market instead of going directly to enterprises or any other big companies. The reason for that is we believe software, the future of products being built, on the next generation of products we build, especially being in the Silicon Valley, you will get them from early stage founders who are thinking out of the box and building complex products. So working with them has really given us insight of what kind of products we can see in the next coming years, and that's where we have an edge on while building them.
So, sort of pivoting a little bit here, you've written about the limits of AI tools, and as you said, they're really great until things get complex, and obviously at production grade software, everything's going to get complex. How do you teach engineers, or what advice would you give to engineers to balance velocity and depth, considering the limits of AI tools?
Yeah. So that's where our hiring comes in. Like most of the times our engineers teach us that's the best way to go. But as few guide rails which we have established within the firm is always, as I mentioned, be in a shared state with the AI. You don't have to just prompt and get the product out right off the bat. Understand the planning process, reasoning process of this AI, and then start developing. We spend a significant amount of time in really figuring out the requirements, each feature by feature and each sprint, each acceptance criteria, and then align the AI and then develop. Once we have initial alignment with all our coding agents and all our agents in the platform, the product which you get is much more aligned and we can get better speed. So ensuring the alignment before the first line of code gets written really helps us in building quality products further down the line.
I'm curious, Anthropic made a big announcement in I think yesterday about Claude officially being the best AI code generation LLM out there, which is an interesting market, comparing Claude and OpenAI obviously and all the other AI tools. Do you have sort of any personal preference in terms of what you guys are seeing on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so we don't have a personal preference. We keep experimenting with as new models come up. Till almost last month, we were getting the best results from Sonnet. Then we started getting results from Gemini. We constantly keep iterating, but it's also that since we are developing agents across the entire software lifecycle. So some agents work better in planning process and working as a PM. Some agents work better at writing code. Some LLMs work better in DevOps. So it's a constant experimentation and evaluation which we do across the stack. So the way we have envisaged how things will turn up is you'll use LLMs for different functions across the stack and constantly keep evaluating on what's the best results which you get. But there's no one LLM until all of these converge at the same quality.
Yeah, and maturity too, right? Because this month Sonnet might be the best at writing code, and then next month it's Gemini, and then the month after that it's an OpenAI LLM. So you're constantly having to reevaluate that. So you might have a team where 5 different agentic AI components are using 5 different models, right?
Yeah, so it's always be a combination of models which give you the results, not just one model, unless your workflows is designed around that model, but you can always switch and test, evaluate what's the best.
So a lot of engineering orgs are still figuring out how to adapt to this new pace. What do you think high-performing teams will look like 3 years from now?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, like the future of engineering teams would be one full stack builder managing a team of agents across the stack. So every engineering team would have a few people who manage across the stack. There are defined agents working for them. So right now, like any tech team has a PM, has a developer, has a DevOps guy, has a tester, all these. But 3 years down the line, how we see is there's just one builder who's managing all of these together, and everyone can build products. You just focus on what you're building and manage these tools together to build whatever.
So what advice would you give to people who are specialized right now? People who are just a front-end developer, or just a back-end developer, or just a cloud solutions architect? How do they keep up with that?
Yeah, for the usual product building process, if you are a front-end developer, it's very easy to become a full-stack developer because the things you were not specialized in can easily be replicated by right now. So as an engineer, you can focus on more strategic decision-making on how the product is going to be, and you don't have to really get into the nitty-gritties of the syntax and everything. But you have now the ability of having a team of people working 24/7 and building yourself. So it's very easy to become from a specialist to a generalist right now. Everyone can become a generalist. But if you are specialized in your field, there's also the top 20% of the problems which AI can't really solve right now. So as a specialist, you can focus on solving those problems. So say if you are a front-end developer, you can easily build the commonly built products using AI tools, but you can also solve problems, the 10-20% of the top of the funnel problems, where what new native workflows are coming, AI native workflows are coming, and give direction to the profile in general, right? So if you're a UX designer, you can automate a lot of your workflows, but you can also help founders or tech teams to figure out what the next generation of AI native apps, whether it's a chat interface or a visual interface, work on more the top 10% of the problems.
Got it. So that's a big question I think everyone's trying to figure out now is, all right, I've been doing X, Y, or Z for the past 20 years or 15 years. How am I gonna fit in, a year or 2 years down the line? So my next question is, what do you think most companies still get wrong about building AI powered products or building products with AI?
Yeah, I think most companies right now, they are centering all their outcomes and all their more value propositions around AI. But AI is just an enabler. It helps you automate a lot of workflows, but your outcome remains the same. So if you are making a chatbot, adding AI would just help you get your results faster, but it's not your core product. So instead of focusing on the outcomes which the app or the product is supposed to do, they're focusing on building it around AI. I think it should be a reverse where you focus on the outcomes and use AI to reach outcomes faster, right? And if you're building something from scratch, a lot of companies make the mistake of not rethinking your workflows from right from the scratch. They're using existing workflows and just force fitting AI in various parts of the process. Right now, a lot of things can be rethought and lighten the development process. You can completely rethink the development process, starting from AI and then bringing humans, instead of adding just AI in various parts of the existing workflows. So rethink how products can be built, get the same outcomes using AI, not just as the core product, but an enabler in that sense.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's not just having AI for AI's sake, using AI as a multiplier, right? So my last question is, what's something counterintuitive that you believe about the future of engineering leadership?
So I just touched upon this. Like, the role of engineer has changed, but AI is not going to eliminate them. Software is getting generated at 10x, 100x the speed previously. So engineers are become more important right now, and they will always be required in any development process. So it's just that you, as an engineer, you need to rethink your work, where you're adding value in the entire process. It's become easier to write code, but it's not easier. It has become easier to write code, but it has not become easier to build quality products. You still require humans in that. So that's what we believe, and that's why we are building Heizen as that cornerstone.
Yeah, so basically, I've heard a lot, I think, about just the necessity for humans in the loop. That's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a wrap with Nishant Verma. Big thanks for coming on the show and sharing lessons on building and leading in the age of AI. If you got value from this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Tech Teams Today on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're a senior engineering leader, we'd love to see you inside the Tech Teams Today Exchange, our exclusive community for engineering leaders. Link in the show notes if you'd like to join. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.